Today's video is sponsored by Sonic Foam Ear Tips. All right, guys. So in this hand, I have a charging brick for a phone. And in this hand, I have the new Moondrop Block True Wireless Earbuds. You can see how tiny they are. They are essentially the exact same size. And the price on these are also small. They only come in retailing at $20. So I think that's gonna grab a lot of people's attention, and I think it should. I mean, it's coming from Moondrop. They're a company that we've tested a lot of their things on the channel. They've gone into over-ear headphones. They have a lot of earbuds, IEMs, and I've generally, for the most part, have been impressed with what they've released. So I was curious to see what they could do for only $20. But before we get into that, we're gonna go ahead and talk about today's sponsor, which is Sonic Foam. If you are a fan of earbuds, which if you watch this channel, you likely are, most earbuds come with silicone ear tips, but a lot of you guys actually prefer foam ear tips. It just gives you a better fit. It's more isolation. It just blocks out a lot more things around you. And Sonic Foam is a company that pretty much has you covered whatever earbuds you have. In fact, on their website, there is a compatibility list that goes through almost every earbud, so you can find the right one that's for the earbud that you have. And it even comes in a nice little hard case, and mine came with a nice handwritten note, which I see is something that they include with every purchase. And I think that's kind of a nice personal touch. So if you're somebody that prefers foam ear tips, I highly recommend Sonic Foam. I will have a link to their site in the description and also to some of their Amazon listings. And again, I'd like to thank Sonic Foam for sponsoring today's video. First thing that I need to point out is this is a different style than any other earbud that they've released already, because this is a semi-open design. It kind of falls in line with like the original AirPods or the AirPods 3rd gen that's out now. So there's no silicone ear tips, there's no foam ear tips or sponge ear, there's nothing. It just sits in your ear. And a lot of people actually kind of look for these kind of earbuds because they can't wear the normal earbuds that have ear tips. So there is definitely a market for these, but they are the flat head style, and where they have the speakers positioned is definitely different than the way that the AirPods approach. The AirPods kind of have their speaker on the end and it's channeling right into your ear canal, where these are more on the flat side of the earbuds. So to me, it feels like it's more pointed in the direction of the back part of my ear. And this does several different things, which we'll talk about once we get to the sound. But let's go ahead and talk about some of the different things about these. Now, it's available in 3 different colors. I have the black version here. The only other color that I would have been interested in is the white model that they have, because they also have a pink one that has flowers on the outside of the case. So there are some different ones to choose between. And the case overall, I like and I don't like. I don't like when earbuds have this open design when it comes to the case, because when the earbuds are out of it, dust and things like that can get into it and kind of block like the charging pins. Now, another thing that I need to point out, the earbuds are kind of a bitch to get out of the case. It's not as easy as just grab and go. I mean, you have to kind of like position your fingers in a certain way, and you got to hope that you can grip these little lines that are purposely there to help grip these to pull them out. Eventually you'll find an easier way to get it out, but at the first, I mean, it took me forever, so keep that in mind. But the earbuds themselves, like I said, they are a semi-open design. They do have the stems on the outside. Now, there's no instructions in the packaging. The packaging is very bare minimum. So there's nothing to tell you what the actual touch controls do, but I did find out it almost does everything. It just doesn't give you control over your volume. So it'll play, it'll pause, it'll skip your tracks forward, it'll go backwards. It'll also summon your smart assistant, and it will also switch these into a gaming mode that these have. So this kind of helps cut down latency. It will also cut down your battery life, but if you're gonna be watching movies or TV shows, you would want to switch it into this mode so you don't have to necessarily worry about lag. Now, as far as the drivers and everything that they're using in here, they are using 13mm bass enhanced dynamic drivers. Now, they also say that these are tuned with the B&K 5128 measurement system. This is supposed to be more accurate to what people hear, and it's just tuned a little bit different. It's tuned to Moondrop's, I think it's called the VDSF target. It's basically like Moondrop's version of the Harman target, and we'll talk about that again a little bit more once we get to the sound. Now, these do have Bluetooth 5.4, But as far as Bluetooth codecs, it's only AAC and SBC, which is fine. I mean, this is essentially the same thing that AirPods have, but you're not getting any high-end Bluetooth codecs. And honestly, in an semi-open or open style earbud, I don't think those higher end codecs are as necessary because you're not going to be able to really fully take advantage of sound the way you are with earbuds that have ear tips. Now, as far as what you get in the box, this is extremely simple. There's no ear tips because this design doesn't call for ear tips. There's no instruction manuals. Really, there's only a USB-C cable. And you are gonna have to use the USB-C cable to charge these. And the battery life, it's kind of on par with the AirPods. You're going to get about 6 hours of battery life on the earbuds. And with the charging case, you can get around 22 hours total. And I think, again, that's completely fine, especially in this price range. There's no fast charging that I saw, so it is gonna take you about an hour to an hour and a half to fully charge these. And then as far as using these for phone calls, each earbud has dual mics. It also is using environmental noise canceling, which is trying to block out all of the sounds around you while you're on a phone call. And for the most part, these are okay, but you guys can be a judge by listening to a test here. So here is a quick mic test of the Moondrop block. And as you can tell, I think for the most part, it picks up pretty well. It's not one of the best mics that I've heard, but it's definitely far from the worst. But this is what it would sound like if you were to take a call. And so now here's the mic test with the crowd noise being played, which you can hear here. And so this is what it would sound like if you were to take a call in public. So now let's talk about the sound. Now, we're definitely gonna have to go back to the type of design that this is. I can't really compare these to normal true wireless earbuds, but I am gonna go ahead and start with comparing them to the Apple AirPods, and more specifically, the 3rd gen of AirPods, which I think retails for about $140, $150. These are basically on par with those, and these are $20. Now, I'm not saying that that's impressive. I'm just saying that the AirPods are overpriced, and these are a really good value. Just don't expect much from them. You're not going to get that subwoofer type feel when it comes to the low end. You're not gonna get that bright detailed treble. Mids on these are a little strange, and we'll talk about that. But let's go ahead and go back to the bass. I think because of the design and because it's not pointed directly into your ear canal, I think they're trying to push the bass in a way that it's affecting the overall sound quality. I think it warms up the rest of the sound. These definitely have a warm approach to them, which is dulling down the treble a little bit. It doesn't bury it. You can still hear a lot of details. Everything still comes through fairly clean. It's just warm. I like a brighter treble, which these don't really hit. And I also like a subwoofer type bass that these also don't do. But for an open ear or semi-open ear style design, the bass is actually pretty impressive. You can feel it. You can tell that they're trying to push that a good bit. But what it's doing to the vocals, at first I thought was really strange. I felt like it had like a reverb or an echoey type feel to the vocals, and that is because it had a lot to do with the way the earbuds were positioned in my ear. If you just sit them in like you would a pair of AirPods, that's not the best way to get the sound out of these because the speakers are actually kind of pointed, I don't want to say backwards, but it's more towards the back part of your ear. You have to kind of turn them in a little bit so you're positioning the speakers more in the direction of your ear canal. And then the vocals kind of clean up a little bit. It doesn't feel like it's kind of getting lost out there. The treble will brighten up a little bit, and the bass kind of has a little bit more impact, but you're still not going to be able to replicate the sound that you can get with a normal pair of earbuds that have ear tips. This also kind of affects the soundstage and the sound imaging. It is an open sound because of this design, but it doesn't really do a good job of being able to tell where sounds are coming from. You lose that ability to kind of hone in on, the vocalist coming from over here or guitars coming from over here. It kind of sounds like you're listening to music in the background. And it's not because the volume on these don't get loud. This is a very loud pair of earbuds, but you're just not able to get that isolated experience that you get with earbuds that have normal ear tips. So my overall opinion is this. These are $20, and I'm kind of probably nitpicking the sound, especially given the price tag, and because I don't normally review earbuds that are this low. So I think for $20, you're definitely getting a good value, especially if you can't use normal ear tips. Now, if you can use ear tips, I definitely recommend just bumping up for $5 more and going with the Moondrop Space Travel, which I essentially think is the same thing as the Moondrop Block, but they add ear tips and you get active noise canceling. But for $20, the sound quality, the convenience of how small a package this is, and also pretty decent battery life, and a gaming mode, don't forget that. You having the ability to kind of cut down lag on gaming and movies and TV shows, I kind of didn't expect at this price point. So it is a really good value, but the space travel I think is a much better value. But guys, that wraps up my video on the brand new Moondrop Block. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Thank you so much for checking out all the other videos. And as always, make sure to stay tuned for more.